Hello, welcome. My name is Shantae. It is so lovely to have you here. Before we begin, let's take a deep breath together. Now, today's topic is something that I think was a pivotal moment in my spiritual journey. And it took a lot of unconditioning to come to this realization, both the unconditioning of having grown up in very fundamentalist, rigid, fanatic religion, and also being influenced by capitalism and how spirituality is expressed in the West for many of us who are dabbling in these different spaces. And a bit about my journey. I grew up in fundamentalist religion. It was very fanatic, very religious, very rigid, very law and obedience based. And of course, I rebelled against all that because it didn't make sense to me. And I just didn't believe in the fear and the judgment and shame. So I became an atheist and I just didn't believe anything for a really long time, for more than 10 years. And eventually I crawled back into spirituality out of curiosity. Like I very slowly dabbled back into these spaces because I felt like something was missing. Like I felt there was more to life than life. And when I wasn't satisfied anymore from the hamster wheel and working in the IT corporate world, and my thirst for life wasn't quenched anymore, I dabbled into spirituality. But it's taken me a long time on this journey, even when I started to open the door again, to really understand what spirituality is. So a lot of people grow up in spaces and communities where it's all about following a very narrow, straight path. And you have to follow this path and you have to follow all these rules and you have to follow all these rituals. And if you don't, you fall off the cliff. And when you look at spirituality in the West, I live in Australia, and there's a lot of, which is very interesting, seeing spirituality being spoken about so openly here, because when I was growing up, it was very anti-religious. It was very, people were generally not religious, and if they were, they wouldn't share it. So Australia's really shifted in the last few years, which is quite interesting. And the spiritual spaces are very broad and very diverse, and we can't pigeonhole them into one box. But what I started to see when I was thirsting on my journey to find like connection, like to find that like, oh, I got it moment, I really struggled because in the spiritual community, and in these spaces, it's often, again, about you have to do these rituals, you have to do this level of learning, you have to do this level of healing, you need to do these different ceremonies, you need to level up, and you're just going and going and going and going. And you need to also buy all these crystals, which I did. I love my crystals. I love them. I think they're so beautiful, but they're expensive. They're very expensive. And buying all these books and then doing all these courses and then becoming the energy healer and all of this. And what I've noticed is that in spirituality, which is why I think so many of us are confused, like I was confused, is we keep getting told that to be spiritual is like a course, like going through school, and there's levels and it's a linear process that happens over time, and there's no real end to it. It's not like you get to a point and you're like, cool, I'm good. Don't need to do any course ever again in my life. It just keeps going. And I think this is a massive misinterpretation of spirituality, because spirituality has always been free. It's always been free. It's like someone charging you for oxygen. Now, it's fine if you have a spiritual business. I have charged people for spiritual events, and I've also hosted events for free. I have no problem with people having a business that's a spiritual business. Good for you. Good on you for, going off the hamster wheel of the rat race and defining your own contribution to the world. I think that's great. I commend people who do that, and I have friends who do that, so I fully support it. But spirituality has always been free, and it actually is far more simple and minimalist than what we think it is. And spirituality is really a state of consciousness that you can get to in one breath. Think about that. Like, think about it, just in one breath, using your own free will, opening up your heart to the beloved to fill you with your level of consciousness and understanding. Spirituality is actually about removing all the barriers that disconnect us from our true self, which is actually a mirror reflection of the divine beloved. We have been created with all these capacities. We're just a mirror of the sun. And there's more to that as well, which I'll talk about in this channel. But the most fundamental basics of spirituality is that it's free and that it's effortless and that you can get to the full level of your spiritual potential in just a breath. And the only thing that's holding you back is your limitations, it's your attachments, it's beliefs that pigeonhole the world into rigid ways of thinking. And so the spiritual journey is really this beautiful, curious journey of just searching and finding and searching and searching. And so we just have to keep looking until we find it. But we'll know when we get there, because it's a state of being, and it's a state of being that we attain, and we just stay there all the time. And of course, we maintain that by connecting to the beloved every day through our thoughts, words, and actions, and how we live our life. But once you get to this consciousness, you're basically floating through life. It's like there's a level of effortlessness in the spirituality. And I want you to know that you can get there, and you can get there in one breath. So there's no time limit or age, like your age on earth, or levels. It's actually completely within your power. So it's like it's the biggest secret in spirituality that people don't talk about, that it's free, that it's completely with your free will, that you can attain your full spiritual potential in a breath. And it's all about connecting to the beloved, because spirituality is never a solo journey. We're not navigating life on our own. That would contradict the very fabric of what spirituality is, which is a connection to the Creator, to the one who's created us, and our connection to all of consciousness, which is what's so beautiful. It's not just a consciousness in nature, it's a consciousness in the spiritual worlds that exist in this world. And of course, it's a conscious creation, like connection to the beloved who has created us. We just fill up our hearts. So I hope that that inspires you and helps you realize that your capacity for spiritual growth is completely within you, and it's with your free will, and you can get there within a breath. And that, I hope, changes the whole game for you, my friend, so that you don't feel like you're on this hamster wheel, especially how expensive it can get, or this feeling like you can never get there. But it's all about you connecting with the divine beloved. And that's when you open the portal, and the most powerful portal for growth. And that's when the game changes. Thank you so much for being in this space with me.